Good morning, guys. It is 9:31 at the moment. Just a couple of reminders to everybody, as always, that QuickTrade is a licensed financial service provider and licensed over-the-counter derivatives provider. Myself, I'm a registered representative, guys. This is important information. This allows you to know or gives you an understanding of who is facilitating these specific sessions. The trading support department is responsible for that, guys. We also support our clients offline, not only in the trading room. We also, upon request and even on a daily basis, we do a couple of calls to our clients just to find it. And if you need a call like that, you're more than welcome to let me know. You can also let Roger know, and we can take it from there. Hey, Fanny, good morning. Good morning, Fanny, good morning. And then cut off for withdrawals there. Mondays to Fridays, 1500 hours, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. All right, and then here's our phases. As always, accumulation phase, movement phase, breakout phase, irrespective of which direction, these will not change. I mentioned to you guys many times before that there are different terms that guys are using. Some use contraction, expansion. It really depends where you're reading, what you're reading. But at the end of the day, it looks the same. All right. Can you guys see my visual? All the guys on YouTube, thanks for joining me. Can you guys see my video of myself? I'm sure you can see my shared screen, but can you see my video? All right, Chuck. All right. Can you see now? Should be able to see. All right, thanks a lot there. Got you. All right. Good morning, everyone. It is it's Wednesday. I'll be with you for the next couple of days. That will be until next week, Tuesday. Roger was with you and finished off with you yesterday, guys. I hope you had a wonderful good morning. Sephora. All right. Are you guys ready to go? I'm ready to push. I'm ready to get the first day done and dusted. I'm going to continue with what I left off last week. I said I'm in the zone of reminders. Hi, Zeph. Good morning. I am in the zone of reminders. I want to track back. I want to remind the guys of what we have done, and we're going to do that through a couple of days. It's not going to happen in one day because what's key to any trader is the consistency of repetition. And so I'm in that zone, and I really want to make sure that everybody's all right. So we won't only be looking at trades. We won't only be looking at opportunities or entries and so forth, but I'll definitely be giving a couple of reminders with a couple of things done. All right. Anna Marie, your first day. I think let's first do what is important. I just want to welcome you. Thanks for being being here. Guys, if you don't mind, if you are, even if you're not having such a good morning, all right, let's make Anna Marie feel welcome. It is always good to participate in principle. Whether you're feeling good or not, whether it's a good week of profits or, there's no, it doesn't matter. Principle is principle. So, welcome. This is a fantastic community. A lot of people in here are really amped and they really get excited about what we have to share. And I speak under no assumption here. All right. Also, if there's anyone else that's joining, Anna Marie, maybe please let me know. But to answer your question there, Anna Marie, first day, I hope it tends to be a bit faster, obviously because it's more practical. And what's very important about the practicality is that there is knowledge that's needed. The guys will tell you. I'm not so sure, Chuck. Maybe guys, let's answer Chuck there quickly. Let's just answer Chuck quickly. All right, Cheryl's already on it. Could be your side there, Chuck. All right. So Anna Marie, just to conclude there, you need some knowledge. I do think that you don't need to panic too much if it is your first day. Just stick around, like Cheryl said. you will love this, all right? And you will learn something, that's for sure. But don't put any pressure on yourself. Don't do that to yourself. You just leave it alone and then you move on, all right? Are we together? All right, all right. Anna Marie, because you knew, I give the guys 14 seconds there. Last year it was 13. This year it's 14. Next year will be 15. Are we together? 14 seconds to respond. And then I move on to the next topic or the next security, because otherwise I'll be waiting forever to get everybody. So I put that in place. All right, so that we can move together. Is everybody here? Is everybody all right? Did you have a start to a good week? Are you not so good? You can also say it. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Whilst you letting me know, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right, I'll share the index. All right, they've done CFD and 2 Forex. Beautiful. Got you, got you, got you. All right, so I'm really ready, guys. I want to push. I want to go and look at what we did last week. I want to go and see if there's anything that we missed. I want to remind. I want to, you to write notes. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Dollar index. Very interestingly, we went to it last week. We did some analysis, and it is clear as day. We were 100% correct with the retracement level there of 110 points. All right, that's the first thing. 110 points, beautifully analyzed, on point. I was speaking to Roger this morning in our market review meeting, and we said that it's so important that we never get ahead of ourselves. That, if you are doing well for 10 trades, don't get ahead of yourself, because trade 11 can work, against you. All right. If you're doing well for 3 trades, or you're doing well in 2 trades, always have and maintain that level of humility as it relates to the markets. Because if you don't, and you get a bit, and I'm going to use the word very, very casually, you get a bit cocky, it will quickly come and humble you. So humility is a key point in trading. It is a key point. Are we together? Being humble about it. And humility has nothing to do with how soft you speak, all right, or how you receive it. It's all about the attitude. It's saying that, listen, I can learn. I can always learn. There's something that I need to be reminded of. There's something that I forgot. There's something that Ash said, well done. Okay, good. I see it. There's a level of humility where you will go back to your notes and say, let me go back again. Are we together? It's so important to maintain that mindset. Are we together? And then secondly, please write this down. Please write this down. When you have a level, or you consistently show levels of frustration in your face, you will start to behave that way. Are we together? So frustration, please, guys, don't let frustration be expressed. Try to have that poker face. Okay, fine, I'm frustrated inside, but the more you show it, it will come to pass. Is everybody clear? Is everybody clear with that? So that's going to be key. We're starting off this 5-day journey with me here, and I'm giving you a couple of psychological facts that happens in the market. Don't express the frustration too much. Are we together? If you really have frustration, don't let people see. Go into your room, take your pillow, put your face in it, and scream as loud as you can. Then you come out. Are we together? But don't let people see, because that is how they're going to know you. They'll know you by you emotional, you too frustrated. I want to run away from this person. Does that make sense, everybody? Is everybody with me? So we have brilliantly analyzed the dollar index, humbly speaking. Are we together? And we can see it has now started to form. You guys know, remember, I'm going to be dealing with some reminders, all right? We are waiting for price to form here. What does it mean for price to form? Data must be shown, displayed. Is everybody clear? When price forms, it means data is being what? Generated. What do we use the data for? Or what is the data? The data is the candles. It is the movement of price. So the more data you have, the more detail you see, you are able to project using the data. Cheryl, I can tell you, I'm laughing internally. That pillow of mine, I have one right in my office. All right. So if any time that comes, I put that sucker right over my face and I scream as loud as I can. I can't hear the words that I'm saying when I'm screaming, but there's a couple of words coming out there. All right, so it's a very good tactic. All right, so here we go. We need data to form. We need data to generate. We want the 110 level, 0.796, technically speaking now, to start to show us some data that will push above this area here. 111. Once we've crossed that level there, then we're obviously looking at it from, remember, this is a 4-hour time chart now. 4 hours. Are we together? So we need the daily here, momentum time frame. Ash, what is the momentum time frame? I'll be asking questions and I want you guys to respond. You guys know I like to ask questions too, like you like asking. Ek like ukfra. All right. So that's a 4-hour time frame there. We need momentum clusters to close above the 111. Why do we need the momentum time frames to close above there? Because it is a stronger, and here is the word, inverted commas, a stronger confirmation. We use that confirmation word very lightly here in the trading room. Are we together, guys? The higher time frames are a stronger signal of where the buyers and the sellers are. So if we get a daily frame that's closing above 111 there, a daily frame, it tells us where the buyers and the sellers are from a directional perspective. The dollar index, remember, we're still dealing fundamentally with interest rates and inflation rates. This week we have NFP that is coming out. Are we together, guys? Now the dollar has dipped, the retracement has gone nice and deep. We want this price obviously to come above the 112 area. Why would we want the 112 area? From a direction perspective, because then we're back in this range here. All right. Now remember, if I switch over to my higher time frame where I'm looking at my momentum, where I'm looking at my direction, we are predicting, we are forecasting. Once the dollar is done with this 110 level here, this area here, can you guys see it? We are forecasting that it will go between or go up to between the levels 117 and 119. Can you guys see that? The 117 and the 119. For now, momentumly speaking, I don't even know if that's a word. I hope it is. You guys will correct me. But from a momentum perspective, we are retracing. The dollar is pausing. The dollar is just breathing. Is everybody with me? This is like that respiratory system. I spoke to you a couple of, a year ago or so. I was, watching this very nice program about, older seniors trading, and he made a very nice statement. He said the markets are like a respiratory system, breathing in and breathing out. Are we together? When it breathes in, you see this retracement. When it breathes out, you see that thrust to the upside. You've been in the trading room for a long time when your idea of Swecan changes to words like, yes, there we go. We have all been indoctrinated here. Talk about indoctrination, right, Chuck? This is programmed on the level, yeah? But it's a good programming, isn't it so? It's not a program to be a robot. It's a program to be a robot with a will. All right, everybody with me there. All right, so the price is currently inhalation. All right, when we are done, we exhale. We predict that we will then pursue between the 117 and the 119 area. All right, that exhalation to that area there. Now that can take some time. As you guys have seen, this has taken some time. We've come up, we've retraced, we've gone up, we've retraced, we've gone up, and we're retracing again. So this is an uptrend at this moment in time, and we are following this and the fundamentals that causes it. Now, what's important about the midweek is for us to forecast and say, all right, so if this does happen, and we see this, this support here, holding, the NFP might be strong enough to push the price back up. We don't know that for sure because we've seen a mixture of what has happened over these couple of months, these 5 to 6 months. We've seen a mixture in fundamentals, and I said it to you guys last week. We saw that there was not a complete correlated pattern. Is everybody with me? I had a fantastic chat yesterday with one of the guys in the trading room. Her name is Teresa. We were speaking. And I said to her that I will use her as an example. She's a scientist by profession. and she said something interesting to me. She said to me, Ash, I don't know the profits. And that's what you don't see you've got to see the patterns. And I said to her, profits is a secondary consequence of patterns. When you realize the patterns, when you realize the movement, when you realize how the structure works, the profits follow. And let me go to the flip side. When you don't know those things, the losses follow. I'll say it again. I'll say it again. If you see the patterns, you see the structure, you see the cycles, all right, then the profits follow that because you get your entries right, you get your exits right, and the profits follow. It's a consequence of the patterns. And in the same way, if you do not put effort into looking at the patterns, looking at the movement of price, losses become the consequence. That's a fact. That's not something, that I can't snap a finger and be like, oh, you're going to make profits. You got to put time in. Does that make sense? So Ash, what do you mean by these cycles? What do you mean by these cycles? All right, here we go. What do you mean by these cycles here? Here's a reminder for the guys. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for the reminder? Price moves in how many cycles? Talk to me. Price moves in how many cycles? How many cycles does it move in? Ken? Chuck, 3 to 5. Yes. Anya's right, depending on what time frame. The higher time frames, you are going to see 3 to 5 cycles. What are the higher time frames? Monthly, weekly, daily. You can use the 12-hour frame. You can use it. It's an earlier entry when you compare it to a daily because it's 12 hours earlier. Does that make sense? So some guys might want to use it. No, not a problem. But when you're speaking about momentum, you are more referring to the days that become weeks, that become months. All right? So 3 to 5 cycles. Ash, what is a cycle? Here we go. Price will come up. Hold on. Let me use a different color. Price will come up. Can you see it? Accumulation. Are we together? Cycle 1. Boom. That's cycle 1. How do we know which cycle 1? It passed through the resistance. Is everybody clear there? It passed through the resistance. It came through that resistance there. That's very important. That's cycle 1. Then, what deems it as cycle 1? The high. Is everybody clear? Ken, with me there. Anna Marie, I love simplicity. This is your first time. I'm letting you know my style. I love simplicity. The guys know, let's keep it simple. I'm not trying to complicate anything here for anyone, all right? So that's cycle 1. Price normally retraces. Am I right or wrong? Retraces. Where does it normally retrace to? To where? The breakout zone. That is the general movement of price. Does that make sense? More than 60% of the time, you can write that down, guys. More than 60% of the time, 70% price will retrace. Is everybody with me? Price will retrace back to where? The resistance of where price broke. That's cycle 1. Then we push again. Cycle 2. Why is it cycle 2? Because it's higher than that area there. This zone here is cycle 2. Is everybody clear there? This is a reminder. Then we push, retracement. Sometimes price can retrace there. That's to the breakout of cycle 1. But remember, price can go further down, go to that area there again, but then leave a spike and come all the way up. Is everybody clear? Price can do that. Price can do that as long as it does not break beneath where? Come on, Ash. Beneath that zone there. If price breaks beneath there, this entire thing is reset. Is everybody clear? Because now it's gone past cycle 1 support. It's gone past cycle 1 support. It's done. All right? And it can. Yes, there we go. The word it can. There's no word as must. Yes, we eliminate the word must because we do not control the price. Remember, guys, we are about 56 people. And I always say to you, if we had 56 trillion US dollars, we'll be controlling the market. But we don't have that cash. Therefore, we cannot use the word must. We fall in line with the bigger players. Does that make sense? We trade where they are going. That's a very important word there. All right, so everybody's clear. So that's cycle 2. Then cycle 3. And I'm going to be very specific, then we're going to move on. But guys, this is the reminders. I'm starting my first day off of my 5 days with you, and I'm giving reminders because sometimes, all right, you forget we human beings. Is everybody with me here? Nobody's superhuman. Does that make sense? So here's cycle 3. We're still dealing with the higher time frames. The higher time frames now. Cycle 3, we come back down, boom. Let's just say there was a cycle 4 as well. And then we start changing direction. Now we push down. So after cycle 3 and 4 and 5, we start to see the push down. Does that make sense? Higher time frames now. But now I'm going to get a little bit mushy inside there now. And I'm going to use another color to do that. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Let's use a blue. No, let's use a red. Let's see what we can do with the red. All right, now watch this. Andile, do you see this zone here? That area there? Ooh, this is going to be key. This is key right here. This area here. That's down. Am I right or wrong? That's down, right? So remember, we had 4 cycles here. Cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, and there's cycle 4. All right? Now, please, I'm going to deal with cycle 3 here for all of us. Cycle 3, right there. Cycle 3. Can you see it? Anya, you with me? Let me just pause there real quickly because now I'm going to show you the shorter time frames. This was higher time frames. Reminder of the shorter time frames, how it works in the higher time frame. All right. Tebo's asking there, please ask from which accumulation do you start counting? So if it's at the bottom of a support, all right, or at the top of a resistance. So let's say this came from here, all right, Tebo, look at this. Let's say this came from here. You see that from the top, it's hit the support. Are we together? Hit a support. Up, cycle 1, cycle 2. Remember, now it's gone and it's retraced back to that area there. Sorry for this, for the bad line there. So there it's reached it. Remember, price goes back to where it came from. Are we together? So it came from there, we went back up again, and now we're pushing down. This, in the bigger scheme of things, is a downtrend. Can you guys see that? In the bigger scheme of things, this is a downtrend. Because why? We've pushed now below where? That zone there. Is everybody clear? History repeats itself. Yes. You just got to know where to find those areas of repetition or it repeating itself. All right. And that's why these are so important. So remember, higher time frames. Let's say this was the daily frame or the weekly frame, and we went up. Now watch very carefully. This area here is the 3rd cycle. Are you with me? That's the 3rd cycle in this uptrend. But this is what it will look like. This is what it will look like. Hold on for me. This is what it will look like coming down. Let me just do this. Sorry, guys. I have to just take this off so that I can show you what it will look like. All right. So from a cycle 3 coming down, it will look like this. Now it can have more than one cycle. Can you see that? 1, 2, 3. There's 4 cycles. There's an example. Are we together? Inside of that movement there. Is everybody with me? And then we push up again. Here there can be 7 cycles if you're using a 4-hour time frame. Are we together? Let me show you again one more time. Are you guys with me? So here it can look like this. It's going to look very, very, very crazy. Are we together? It can look like this before we push up again. So this might be a 4-hour time frame. It might be a 6-hour time frame. Are we together? Not the daily or the weekly. The 4, the 6, the 8, the 2, the 3, etc. If you look at the 15, 30 minutes, that's going to be a whole lot more. That's too much. Are we together, guys? That's too much. You don't want to lose yourself in that. Is everybody clear? And guys, I'm so happy that the guys are with me here and that the guys are responding. Because if you don't respond, I won't know. Is everybody clear here, guys? Let me make sure 100%, and I'm going to move on, all right? And then I'm going to move on. Then I'm going to move on, all right? 14 seconds, 14 seconds, 14 seconds. Let's move on to MT5. All right, let's go on to the MT5. And we're going to start looking at this now. And I want you to be reminded to say, this is how we're looking at the structure of the price. So let's push. Here's NASDAQ. We've been dealing with NASDAQ. I spoke to you guys about this last week. Look at this monthly frame here. This retracement here has been happening for the past 6, 7. It's now September. We are still stuck there. Well, it's October. Last month, we ended off. Look where we ended off September, right there. That was a previous area where we found a breakout. Does that make sense, everybody? That was a previous area of breakout. Now, that's a monthly. If you look at it, that's cycle 1 there. If you look at it from this angle here, does that make sense, everyone? So there's a resistance, cycle 1 there. Do you see that? Resistance, cycle 1, retracement, cycle 2 here. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to say it one more time. There, that was accumulation. That was the resistance we broke out. Can you see that? Cycle 1, that's a resistance, cycle 2. So now we know that the NASDAQ, we are still in cycle 2. Is everybody clear there, guys? We are in cycle 2 here, and we at the support. Now, this is the problem. If we have to break this zone here, can you see how cycle 1, how this whole thing resets now? If we break there, this whole thing resets. Right now, it's still valid. All right. Absolutely, Anya. There we go. For the guys that want to write it down, Anya also put a note in there. All right. So quickly to recap here, guys, just to recap here, we are in cycle 2. Are we together? We're in cycle 2. Therefore, we're still seeing cycle 3 to come. Does that make sense, everybody? We're still seeing cycle 3 to come. Now, there's guys that are trading long-term that is not going to buy and get out here as an example, or buy and get out here, or buy and get out there. Some guys are going to buy here and then they're going to get out there. Does that make sense, everyone? So let's quickly look at how much these cycles can increase by. If you're looking at overall, Mike, look at this. Very, very interesting here. Please watch this very carefully. Watch this very carefully. Let me just find the resistance. So this is a resistance here. All right, let me take that off. Let me take this off here. Now watch very carefully. Can you guys see this area here? Look at that. Can you see this zone here? There's cycle 1. Is everybody clear? Look at this. Resistance, cycle 1, cycle 2. So if you do it like this, let's just measure more or less. We're getting a more or less picture, guys. This is not guaranteed it's going to do exactly the same thing. All right, cycle 2. Can you guys see this? It just fell a little bit short of that. Can you see that? Can you guys see this here? Hold on for me 1 second. I'm gonna measure again. I'm gonna measure again. So from there to there, more or less 21260, more or less for cycle 3. That's a lot of pips, a lot of points. Are we together, everybody? This is not 4-hour time frames. This is monthly. There's guys that will hold this trade up until then. Are you with me here, guys? There's guys that will hold this trade up until there. If yes, well, look, at some point, the stock market must also increase. There is what people call crashes. Yes. Are we together where we completely push down? Yes. We are now at this zone where if we break and we close beneath 10,966, we're starting over. So then it's a different story. Then this is no longer valid. This is only valid because of this. All right. So this cycle 3 here is only valid because of 1 and 2 here. If this thing breaks below, all of this is void. We start over. we measure a new cycle. Is everybody clear? And the new cycle could maybe look something like this, maybe that short. It's very possible. It's very, very, very possible. All right. Swap fees along with exactly, but it's profit exactly. Shara, there we go. Swap fees 25,000. But if you made 5 million, you're holding it until there. You made 5 million. What's 25K as an example? If you made 1.5 million, what is 25,000? If you made 500,000, we just going down. 500,000. What is 25,000? Does that make sense? So they'll hold it from there to there, make an insanely a ridiculous amount of money, and then they'll pay their swap fees, and that's it. Is everybody clear there, guys? All right. So I'm going to conclude here, let you know this is only valid because of these cycles. If price closes beneath here, we go back to the reset, or we go back to the drawing board. All right. Look, if you're going to put on the position size calculator, you can always do, calculations. You can just look at it from a long perspective. Let's say you get in there and you long it to 21260 on a 0.01, 18,000. Are we together? Are we together? If we put a 0.10, 184,000. Are we together? If you put a 0.50, 920,000. Look how it goes up from 180 to 920. Now let's quickly go and do this. Look at this. Anya. One standard lot, 1.8 million. That's compound interest for you. Do you see that? In one day. Well, yeah, it's going to take one day. It's going to take very long. Are we together? But if you had to hold it from there to there, are we together? Now imagine the banks. Look at this, guys. Just imagine the big institutions. Mike, imagine this. Are we together? We need more space here. we need more space. Are we together? Even a 0.75, 1.3 million. So just to give you a couple of numbers, that's how some guys will leave it. Are we together, everybody? That's how some guys will do it. But if you switch back to a daily, let's go. Daily. We are looking for extracts. So from there to there as an example, only 648 pips. Does that make sense? Exactly, Cheryl. It's precisely the point. All right. So if you're going to take it from here, and let's say you teach at 12153, 0.75 in one day there. Not in one day, sorry, it's not going to be one day because let me just see something. Yeah, that makes more sense. That's 1,301 pips, 2,300. But this is nothing for the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ guys can move that at any time. Are we together? The NASDAQ moves very, very fast. All right. And yeah, about 2 days. It's about 2 days, yeah. Shara, that's a very interesting point that you put out there. I sometimes, for me, I think these guys don't even care. They just move in the market. You know what I'm saying? You just collateral damage. Just, you know what I'm saying? So it's a very interesting point, though. All right. So S&P, we anticipated the 3599 area. We hit it successfully. Are we together? Are we together? 3599. We anticipated that. We did push down till there. Beautifully done. Are we together? So our analysis panned out nicely on the S&P. If you go to the Dow Jones, we had an area 28674. If you go to the daily, this was there's our little symmetrical triangle that we put in place. It crossed over the finish line on even a higher time frame. Cheryl, higher time frame, even better. Are we together, Mark? Even better. If it crosses over the finish line, the higher the time frame, the better that movement. All right, it did. Even on the 12-hour, look at that, beautiful, beautiful. And then it pushed down to the 28674 area as analyzed. Are we together, everybody? At this point, we are pushing back up to retrace that entire zone at 30546. If you look at the daily frame here, guys, I'm going to my pivot points now. Pivot points. Ash, what is the pivot point? The pivot point is where price had a major reaction. This is the pivot point right there. Can you see it? Right there. That pivot point was, that is July, the start of July. So we broke here, the start of July went down, and now we're revisiting the start of July again. Can you guys see that? So price goes back, it retraces and revisits. Is everybody clear with it? That's what I mentioned earlier on. I said more than 60% of the time it's going to do it. It might not happen immediately, but it happens. So at this point, you can see we're there. But from a monthly perspective, overall, we are still in that retracement. We are still in that retracement. You can see it here, guys. There we go. That's cycle one. So we at cycle one here. If we break here, done. Because this is the resistance. That's the resistance. That's the rejection there at 28674. We broke it once, retraced. We broke it the second time. So this one looks a little bit different to the NASDAQ, but it's also cycle two. Because there's the resistance. How do you know to identify the cycle? Look at the resistance area. Guys, please make a note of that if you don't have it. Ash, how do I know where the cycle is? Identify where it resisted. When it broke the resistance, that becomes the cycle. If you haven't written that down, write it down. If you have, good for you. So cycle one there, retracement, cycle two, we are now pushing. We are back at cycle one. If we break down here, reset. Reset. Is everybody clear? We are now retracing a little bit to 30546. This is the same area here where we saw the retracement in cycle one. Everybody clear there? It's the same retracement area here. Hit the resistance, came down, and then went back up again. We're revisiting that zone there. All right. Crystal clear. Got you, Chuck. Leratos clear. Angel, Anna Marie. Beautiful. Anna Marie, how's it going on the first day? Is it simple enough? Let us know. I'm pushing on so far. Guys, remember NFP, anything can happen. Are we together? We're being a little bit careful. If there's a position we're going to take, we'll take it. But anything that's with the US, anything with the US, we are a little bit wary. We do not want to put people in the wrong place. All right. A bit fast. All right. Don't worry. You'll catch on. Tabi saying he's getting it. All right. Got it. Beautiful. Yes, Isabel, overall, cycle two has happened. All right. And we are looking that it could. Remember the word could there for cycle three. And we measure the same. How we did with the NASDAQ. We measure the same. Are we together? We measure the same. So I'm not going to do the measurement with this one yet. I don't want to take time away from looking as well. All right. Ken, I like the cycles, but I forget them when I'm on my own. And I listen, I thank you for that. Thanks for actually mentioning that, Kenny, because I don't think that you're the only one. Are we together? I think there's a lot of people that forget when they buy themselves. And is that a bad thing? No, it's not. Nonfanello, also forget them. Beautiful. Thank you for the honesty. All right. Is it a bad thing? No, it is not. Fanny says, me too. Maybe the age. Gert as well. All right. So, guys, I love the fact that we're being honest here. Are we together? That's the thing. So, again, is it bad? No, it is not bad that you forget. We are human. Are we together, guys? Especially, remember, if you've been doing, and I actually told Teresa this yesterday, guys. I said, if you've been doing something for 20 years, you know how to do it. Isn't it so? Is everybody with me? But if you do something for 6 months, a new thing for 6 months, something for a year, would you agree with me? You still need to get used to some more, intricacies that come with that specific thing. Yes, absolutely. So if you've been trading for a year, please understand that there are still some things that you're going to learn, even although you're very good in certain aspects. Does that make sense, everyone? You could be good at using garden tools. You can use a garden fork. You can use a spade. You can use a spade very well. Does that make sense, everybody? But the garden fork still needs some time to get used to. Does that make sense, everyone? You still got to get used to it. So you can be very skilled in support and resistance. Beautiful. You could be very skilled in trend lines. Beautiful. You could be very skilled in candlestick patterns in a year's time. Absolutely. But there will be areas that you need to skill up, that you need to sharpen. Is everybody clear? Is everybody clear? Can I just mention this to you? Yeah, we're going to go to Brent now. Look at this, guys. There's guys that you find in 1 year, they are very profitable. They are profitable because they stuck to that one thing. They said, I'm going to take support and resistance levels, and I'm going to only look at that and make my money. Does that make sense, everybody? Then you find someone else comes and they tell you about trend lines. You're like, oh my word, I didn't know that. Now I can use trend lines with my support and resistance. Can I just say that again? I hope you guys are hearing that. You're so good with support and resistance. Someone comes, opens up your eyes of understanding to see trend lines in a different way. You're like, wow. Wow. I've been doing support and resistance. Now I can add what I just learned about trend lines. Now, this is the power of the trading room. I'm giving you guys a bit of everything. Does that make sense? I'm not specializing only in support and resistance. I'm speaking to you about different things so you can have a more holistic experience. Is everybody clear there, guys? Everybody clear? So I'm giving you a bit of everything so you can have a more holistic experience. So if someone comes with trend lines, you'll be able to say, hey, man, thanks for showing me, this about trend lines. I know it, but I like how you did this a little bit different. There's nothing wrong with that because everybody sees differently. Right, everyone? Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. We're going to Brent now. Let's go to the commodities. All right, let's go to Brent commodities. Now, guys, what's very important about Brent, when you look at it holistically, you can see we are pushing down. We have hit a support area. This was last week's analysis. Are we together? You can see we are now finally going across the line only now. Last week we pushed through and I said to you, anything can happen between this space and this space. Let me just show you. Anything can happen between there and there. Anything. Does that make sense? Anything can happen between that area there and where price breaks that specific area. We were below. We were in the southern hemisphere. We pushed down. We closed beneath and we went down further. Found some support, but we're crossing the line now. Now, what can happen here? Please understand this, guys. Please understand this. What can happen is the following. Chuck, price can push up. Are we together? And we can reject there and come back down again. Please understand that. Because we've already crossed the finish line. We've already crossed the finish line. So price can come up. That doesn't mean we're going to buy all the way to the top now. Is everybody clear there? Is everybody clear? Doesn't mean we're buying all the way to the top because we are now in this buy zone here. Can someone tell me what are we going to look at in that instance? Because on the hour frame, as an example, price can push up. Look at this. Price can push up just like that. Up from there and push all the way up till there. Then guys will start buying. But what will we be looking for? What will we be looking for before we take that buy entry there? All right, let me ask the question again. There we go. There we go. There we go. Guys, I think yes, man. Anna Marie, look at these guys. Let's make a person proud, man. You guys are really, honestly, momentum, yes. We will wait for the directional candles to close above, not the hours. If the directional time frames close above here, that's a different story. So on the hour frame, you're going to see this. This is what you're going to see, guys. The load shedding seems to be very bad. A lot of going on. They're coming up and in, and they're going off again. All right. So, guys, the hour frames might look like this. Look at this. Like that. Like that. Like that. So here the guys say, yes, we're buying now. We want to go up. Please be very careful. Hey, be very careful because that's what the hour looks like. Does it make sense? But then on the daily, it's gone up. up like this, but then sits right there. And then all you have to show for it is a wick. Does that make sense? Then the wick is above, but the body is not. Key words there. The wick is above, but the body isn't. We want the bodies to close above, not the wicks. Is everybody clear there? We want the body to close, not the wicks. How do you know someone really died? That's a very extreme and radical example. How do you know someone really died? What do the FBI, what do the police look for? What do they look for? A body. No body, it's debatable. Are we together? Hold the mirror next to the They look for the body. Are we together? Because the body is the evidence that the life has gone. Is everybody clear? Is everybody clear? So this, in the same way, the body of the candle is the evidence that the buyers have pushed to the upside. Everybody clear with that, guys? Lekker extreme example there, but you know, it works. I saw a very few convictions. Yeah, you know, that's for the guys, you know, because, Jay, some of the guys, you know, they get grinded up and they get thrown into fish ponds and stuff like that. So, I mean, you're never going to find a body there. Does it make sense? It's gone. You know, it's in the fish's belly, etc. You know, and so people need to mourn, isn't it? So they're gonna decide. Are we together, everybody? They're gonna decide. Hey, man, what are we gonna do now? We have to make a decision. I know of someone that is very close to me. He's still missing. He's been missing for 4 years. My next door neighbor. Next door neighbor. Are we together? We grew up together. And he's still missing 4 years. 4 years. Not found. So what do you do in a case like that, Cheryl? What do you do in a case like that? 4 years. You got to assume, isn't it so? 4 years, there's an assumption that's made. And it can be anything, overseas, maybe staying in some. Let's move on. Hey, I almost said, you know, I could come up with so many creative answers there, but all right, so here we go. Daily on the WTI. Same here, doing the same thing. Are we together? Cheryl, that's true. Maybe it just ran away. Maybe won the lotto. Did you guys see that one picture? I saw a guy putting a mask on and he was signing, you know, the lotto ticket. So his family doesn't see him. He won the lotto and he puts a mask on so they can't see his face because, you know, they say family comes from everywhere. Once they see that, I don't know. Maybe Nompanello, anything is possible, all right? Anything these days. WTI looks similar. It's at 84.79. You can see these wicks here. The body is closed above 84.79. So this is a bit of a problem. This is a bit of a problem. Does it make sense? Because now the Brent can react to that. That this body here is sticking out amongst all of these wicks. So we could see a surge in price with that Brent. You guys know that OPEC is going to cut supply. What happens to price? You know, they're going to cut it by roughly around 2 million barrels there per day. Did you guys see that? They said to cut their supply. So if supply is cut, what happens to price? When supply is cut, what happens to price? Let's see. Talk to me. When you cut the supply, price goes up. Yes. Are we together? So they're looking to cut supply, which means price can go. All right, everybody. So if price goes up, we could see the same thing happen in Brent there. Okay. Everybody with me? So it could very well on the hourly frames pan out exactly how we are anticipating. All right, Shara, that smile was the laugh was for what you said there. All right. Can we move, guys? Can we move with Brent? Is everybody understanding? Indices, NASDAQ, we are still at the support. S&P, we still at the support. Dow Jones, still at the support. Brent and WTI, we could go a little bit higher. 94.54. Brent, guys, we could go a little bit higher here. Roughly, if I look at my zones, 90, Please write this down here. 98. Please write that down, 98. Very possible. All right. 98.44. Can I move? We're going to go to the dollar pairs now, guys. Dollar pairs. Dollar pairs, we're just going to have a look. We're going to have a look with NFP. Look what's happening here. Went up to 99646. Hit that specific area that we highlighted. Look at this. Chuck, absolutely agree. It hit our area there, 99646. Hit our zone, rejected ever since. When did that happen? Guys, that happened last week. We spoke about this thing here, 99646. Everybody clear there? Everybody clear here? Hit our zone as anticipated. We are still above. We are above that specific hemisphere. We are above. You can see it. We hit the zone. We're rejecting. We could come back into the zone here. If the dollar increases in strength, we could see price coming back down. Can you guys see that? It's creating lower highs here. Look at that. Look at that. Can you see it? We're seeing a slant. So we could come back down here. That could be a double top for some of the guys. That's how some guys look at it. Is everybody clear? For short. But this is the neckline. You can see it's being respected. That's the neckline. It's being respected. Everybody clear? Yeah, let's give Cheryl a round of applause on Euro USD. Massive profits. Like the word there. If Anya's asking there, if the dollar increases, the USD will come down. If the dollar increases, it should ideally go up. But you guys, I mean, you have seen that the opposite does happen. So if the dollar increases, we have a zone here, 1.02916 that we're looking at. All right, 1.02916. Please write that down. 1.02916. Everybody clear? 1.02916. That's the area, the zone. Should we get a stronger dollar, we're looking for that area to be hit. And if you look at it in the bigger scheme of things, that's where we're going. Should the dollar increase, that's where we've highlighted 1.02916. This is the overall momentum now. All right, that's in the bigger scheme of things. Is everybody clear? Anya, you got it? So ideally, it should go up. All right. USD CAD. This is a very interesting one here. Look at this 1.35090. Guys, remember, I don't have these things here for nothing. This was a retracement zone. All right. These things I'm not sure for nothing. This is last week. Retrace to 1.35090. From a shorter time frame perspective, when you do go, it could have been on the 1 hour. I just want to make sure. Over here. Can you see that zone there? Can you see this area here? This is what we're referring to right there. So it's retraced back to that zone there. If it does come down, I can take this off. Let me just take this off. We don't need that any longer. I can take that off. I don't need that any longer. If we do come down, can you see this 1.32? Can you see that 1.32? That's the almost the entire candle that broke up here. Can you see that? You with me? Please write that down. 1.32592. 1.32592 if we push down from 1.34. At this point, you can see if you look at this candle here, it's not reached halfway yet. So from there to there, can you see that? That's about 887. So halfway of the candle is roughly around here. Do you see that, guys? Roughly around there. We haven't reached halfway yet. So it's telling you that the buyers are holding that position. Does that make sense? And that is the challenge with the dollar. Is everybody clear? The dollar's holding here now. The CAD is not strengthening against that specific dollar. The dollar is at a support. That's what I'm saying. Let's be careful with the US dollar. We're only dealing with this candle here. That's the only candle that we are dealing with. Just this candle here. We have not reached halfway of that candle. So we're getting mixed signals here from the dollar. All right. Everybody clear there? Can I move? Also on the news, listen, it's a packed one, yeah? It's a packed one, guys. The doc, he saw a bit of upside here with AUD USD. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Starting fresh from a monthly perspective. Look at this. From a monthly perspective, look at price. Can you guys see this? We are at this area here. If you put in a line chart, can you see that support there? Can you guys see the support? Now remember, these are the pivot points, these period separators. So if I go to a weekly, you can see that we are currently below. Ash, what do you mean below? That pivot point there. We're below that zone, we're below that zone. Can you see we are below? So we are tracking, if we go to the daily now. Can you guys see this? That is the pivot point there. We are at that area. If we break this zone, that's a different story. All right, if we break that area, different story. So if you go back now, sorry guys, if I go back, come on. Just excuse it for a second or two, guys. Network seems to be, is not on my side here with this load shedding, please. The network is not doing us any good here. 64. Can you go back? It's not loading. It's probably just the network. Please just excuse it there. All right. See, it should be going back. There we go. Come on. All right. So can you see here, guys? See that zone there? We can actually bring it down further there. If it breaks that area there, 64, can you see where we go to now? Please make a note of that. 0.60646. This is if there's dollar strength. Please write that down. 0.60647. 0.60647. But Ash, that is that's very far away. Yes. Let's make it more relevant. Let's cut it in half, that entire zone. Let's cut it in half. We'll put the 50 there. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you an area that's very safe. Are you guys ready for this? All right, so let's say you short it, right? You short it down from here. Getting out there is very powerful. Does that make sense? Getting out there is very powerful because now you entering the zone. What price can do is price many times can come, stop right there. All right. And then push up again. Then it does not even reach the 0.62331. Does that make sense, everyone? So getting in right there, getting out and waiting. And I can tell you today, that is 128 pips. Cheryl says that happened to you yesterday. Exactly. Can you see that? So if you know how to highlight zones, you can get out earlier, take your money, and you're cool. Does that make sense? So that is 128 pips. You put 0.50 on there. So please write this down if you'd like. If you're hearing me loud and clear, that is 62720. 62720. 62720. That's getting out earlier. Take your money, you're gone. All right, 62720. Other guys will wait. They're going to leave it, depending on if you're a scalper. Guys, remember, if you're a scalper, you're looking for more accurate exits. Can I say that again? If you're scalping the market and you're trying to get a certain amount of pips during the day, you're looking for more accurate exits. Everybody clear there, guys? I think, you know what, I think let's just pause there, all right? Let's just pause there. I think that's an important point. If you are scalping the markets, all right, guys? If you are scalping the market, then you want more precise exits. Is everybody clear there? You want precise exits. All right? Because let's just say you got in here. Shira, let's say you did not get in there, right? Are you with me here? But you get in there. Let's say you get in there. You see, this is still the precise exit. Even if you got in there versus there, there's some guys that can make money from there to there. They're scalping it on shorter time frames. So from there, let's look at it. That's 64 pips. That's 64 pips. Does that make sense, everybody? So when you, all right, when you are scalping, you want more precise exits. All right. 64003. Yes, Anya. But remember, here you can still shave some wicks here. You can shave some wicks there. Do you see that zone there? You can shave those wicks there as well. All right. You guys with me? The pillow. So that's 64 pips. Chuck, who would not like 64 pips? Everybody with me? All right. Yashe, I'm throwing that one into the wolves den. They'll tell you. These guys know. Trust me. They know. Watch. I'm throwing it into the wolves den. Or in the den of the wolves, or whichever way around you. There we go. There we go. There we go, Chuck. Count me in for that 50. Count me in. Yeah, you're not going to find it on your phone. You're not going to find it on your phone. It's on your laptop. There we go, Zeph. I told you. I told you. The guys know. All right. Yashe, that's how powerful this community is. Anna Marie, that's how powerful it is. The guys know. We love competency in here. Whilst I'm busy on the one end, we got guys holding back on the other side. That's a powerful community. Gabe, what do you think? That's a powerful community, man. All right. So NZD USD monthly. Guys, we've hit 56263. 55719. That wick is right there. You go to a weekly and you switch back down to a daily, it looks similar to the AUD USD. There we go, Nyash. Oh, I love it, man. We love it when things come together, yeah? All right. Thanks for jumping in there, Zeph. Beautiful. Love it. All right. So you guys know AUD USD, NZD USD, they look similar. All right. They are similar. Everybody clear? They are similar there. Are we changing anything here? Yes or no? Are we changing our stance here, guys? No, the dollar at this point, let's go back to the dollar again. Let's do it. Let's go and see. Look at the dollar. Okay, if we can just see where it went to, isn't it so? Like the guy just said, you know, like it disappeared on us. Look at the dollar. Let's go to the daily. And this is what the dollar looks like right now. So we are depending on the dollar to at least push above. We need this 111 area, a momentum time frame to close above there. If we get a momentum time frame above the 111 area there, that is brilliant for us. Then our shorts make sense. Is everybody clear? Remember, guys, you can take a chance and you can get into the market and make massive profits like Cheryl. Does that make sense, everybody? Are we together? All right. She must have gotten in a totally different place. Are we together? But I'm referring to this at this point in time, right now. Right now, we need the dollar to push up a little bit more. Everybody with me there, guys? We're doing good for our first session in for the next 5 days. We're doing very well for our first session in the next 5 days. While everyone was sleeping. That's the way, Shira. That's the way. They're always sleeping. Just check Shira there. Shira, you wanted to lick his lips there when you said when everyone was. GBP USD. Rejection right there. Look at this rejection. If you go to the daily, look at the rejection. Guys, and I want to point out something. I want to take that calculator off. Can you guys see the zone here? Let me, hold on. Let me do this. Look at price. Look at the pivot points. Ash, why do you keep using the pivot points? Well, because the pivot points are powerful. Look at that, Shira. Look at that. Touches that low there. They work. Yes, they work. Yeah, they work. Touches, starts rejecting. So that tells you immediately, if the momentum closes above here, where are we going to? Now watch. I hope you guys are going to catch this. Are you ready? We're talking momentum now. Some guys will say, Ash, I want to take it up to 1.17. All right, okay. Does it match up? Ooh, it does. Look at that. Do you see that? It matches up. But there's a previous one before. There. So before it hits that one, this one is first. Does it make sense, everybody? I'm sure, guys, I hope you're seeing what I'm showing you here. So there, you go up 160, 170, 186. You can't take it higher, but this one is a risk. Shira, that one's a risk because price might not go till there. Price can go all the way till there. Yeah, and then, does that make sense? Trouble. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Let's go a little bit deeper, right? To all the guys that like the shorter time frames. All right, I'm disproving the fact that you need to have this holy grail mindset. Mike, there's a 12-hour. Take note of 1.16. Just take note of 1.16. Gabe, we had 114. Take hold and note of 1.16. Now look at this. 8. Can you see this? Still intact. 6. Still intact. Can you see it? But look at this area here. Can you see that zone there? That is where the guys are going to get out, only taking 111 pips on the shorter time frames. Can you see that, everybody? They will only, so now this doesn't even matter anymore. These two don't even matter because we've just found another one right there, 111 pips. Is everybody with me, you guys? You with me? It sucks to be you. Mark. Are pivot points better viewed on monthly, or can you use you? No, Siyabonga, guys, I think, you know what, for that one, can we give Siyabonga a round of applause here? Because I think that question is powerful. Are pivot points better viewed on the monthly, or can you use any momentum time frame? I think that is a brilliant question. All right, so let's answer that. On your monthlies, when you're working from that area down, your monthly will always have a stronger pivot point because it's a higher candle. More money went into that month. Does that make sense? More money went into that month to get to that specific point. So there's guys that are going to say, okay, I can see where your, hold on for me. I think what's happening here, Anya, I just wanted to check because you said something interesting there. It's just shy of the 50. It's just shy of there's the 50 right there. Ours is just before the 50. It's roughly around the 38. It's at the 38 area. Can you see that? That's the safe zone. Exactly. That's the safe zone, 38 or 61. That's what I mentioned earlier on. All right. Okay, so look at this. Monthly pivots will obviously be much better, isn't it? So now look at these ones here. Can you see that one there, that one there? Let me actually put the rectangles on because this is more of it's a very nice recap session. Would you guys agree? Very nice recap session, right? Look at these pivot points here now. Look at that, right? And look at that pivot point. Now for you to take it from there to the first one there, that's 1,000 pips. That's not going to work. Does that make sense, everybody? That's not going to work. You're not going to wait for that. So you can draw that point, the low. You can use the low, the open, the close, the high. You obviously want the more recent one. So that's the low. Does that make sense? But from where price is now you're going to say, all right, so if I take that off, I take that off, I take that off. Now you know what zone you're working with. Does it make sense? But if you switch in now, watch. See, now that you're switching into the shorter time frames, you're going to find the pivot points in between. There's one there. Can you see that one there? Are we together? There's one there. Here's one here. So from there to there, this is what you've been dealing with. This from there to there. That's what you're dealing with, but there's pivot points in between. That's how guys are making money in between. These are the simplicity, or this is the simplicity of price action. Is everybody with me here? Everybody with me here, guys? So this is key stuff. This is key stuff. Yes, Anya, you can pivot point where price broke up, down, so you can say where it reacted, where there was a response, where it was up or down. Yes. Everybody clear there, guys? Can we do a quick recap here, guys? Can we do a quick recap here? Fundamentally, we know what's happening with the dollar. All right, guys? We know it's NFP this week. We saw some interest rate decisions on the AUD. Are we together, guys? They went down by 25 basis points. Did you guys see that? Went down by 25 basis points. That's the Australian dollar. NZD, or the New Zealand dollar, kept it the same. Are we together, guys? That influenced the movement of the dollar. All right. NFP is coming out Friday. Brent is set to cut supply. So fundamentally, we are chatting about a few things that can influence the market. You guys know ADP is before NFP. That happens on a Wednesday. You guys know that. That's the private sector job creation. NFP is public. 250,000 jobs set to be created on Friday. Is everybody with me? Technically, we're seeing a support level with the dollar index, waiting for more data to come through. NASDAQ, we've hit a support. S&P hit a support. Dow Jones hit a support. Everybody with me? Brent, we are currently hanging somewhere. Are we together? Everybody with me here? All right, we just need to go and check gold. I got a question there from CAT-JPY. I gave you an emergency exit there. CAT-JPY, there was an emergency exit. I hope you wrote it down. I think it did close. I'm out of that one. Yeah. It hit the emergency exit. Went above the emergency exit, which was there. I'm out. We can. This is a problem here. Can you see that pivot point? See, this pivot point just seems to be a problem. Can you see it there? That pivot point, there seems to be a bit of rejection here. You with me? Look at the pivot point. Look at the rejection. Guys, it's extremely, extremely important that you look at these, all right? Pivot, yes. For support, you're going in if the brand goes up. We you know what, Jay, we can actually have a look at it again at 4 p.m. Yeah. I don't have any view on it. You know, there's a lot of guys that make a lot of noise in a moment, and then it dies down, and then price pushes. Look at Netflix. Netflix came down. It's struggling to go up. We do have a long in that. I still see upside on Netflix. If I go to Netflix, look at Netflix here. Hold on. If I switch to, look at that. This has been, I mean, guys, how long have we been chatting about Netflix? Look how it's been struggling. I still have the same analysis there. It hasn't changed. Does that make sense, guys? I still see the upside, 280. It's already come up from where I identified. It's going to lift from 174. It's pushed up significantly. Are we good? 240. We're about $40 away from 280. I still see it going to 387, provided it breaks this resistance now. You can see it's created a resistance. Can you see that? Even from a daily perspective. Look at that resistance there. So look at Netflix now from a support level. Sia, you asked a good question. Who asked early on, which one do we normally hold or use as a resistance? Or which accumulation period? I said to you, when it hits a support. There's your answer right there. Technically, hit a support. That's cycle 1. Can you see this here? Cycle 1, cycle 2. Cycle 1, because it broke out from where? That area there. Cycle 1. There's a resistance. There's cycle 2. So we're looking for cycle 3 to hit 280. Can you see that? That's the higher time frame now. That's a higher time frame, just like I mentioned to you. And if I go to a daily, you can also see it. Look at that. Cycle 1. That's cycle 1. Are we together? And then it, accumulated a resistance, cycle 2. To come down. We at cycle 1 here now. So we're looking for a break to go to cycle 3. So whatever you're trading, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Amazon, whether it be Tesla, it doesn't matter. Look at the cycles. Where is the price? So if something happens fundamentally, you can project. Does that make sense, everybody? You can project and say, okay, we are in cycle 2 of Twitter in a bullish trend. So if the fundamentals has any impact and it's positive, we know that because we're now in cycle 2, we're looking for cycle 3 to push up. Therefore, you're buying shares. Do you see that? If the fundamentals is positive. Does that make sense there, Henny? So look at the technicals with the fundamentals. All right. Look at the technicals with the fundamentals. All right. And then don't forget, Cheryl, you guys know, Shara, Chuck, Mike, Gabe, you guys know. Sometimes the fundamentals does not correlate and it doesn't make sense with the technicals. It happens. It's the market. It's what happens. It's a phenomena. It's a mystery. I don't know. It's just what it is. But it goes back to what we can figure out: buyers and sellers. These are the guys that predict and put the market in place. All right. Fani says this is powerful. Thanks, Fani. Is it possible to, that's FX, is it possible for us to do the small checkout on H1? Yes, we can, of course. Exactly, Anya. We are not in charge of anything. Absolutely. CAD JPY, our frame. CAD JPY, our frame. And I love what Anya says. The guys, that's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. It's like a badly made bomb. It either explodes or it Chuck, where's Chuck now? Chuck is at the bomb, guys. It's so like Chuck. It's so like Chuck, you know. All right. So FX SWIPZ. All right. So clearly the buyers here have come in, gone above our exit. Pivot point is being respected. All right. Are we together? Pivot point is being respected at this point in time. If we close once again beneath the emergency exit, which was 106.058, we could go down further. Are we together? We could go down further because now we're coming back down again. Goes up, respects, comes back down. Daily frame we need to close here, not the hours. We need the daily. We need the daily. All right. So we are now then looking at possible buyers. If I go to a shorter time frame, I'm looking for lower highs, higher lows. Why am I looking for lower highs, higher lows? Who can remember? Why am I looking for lower highs, higher lows? Why am I looking for lower highs, higher lows? Why am I looking for lower highs, higher lows? Guys, I don't like these thick lines when you're drawing. Sorry, let me just get them to be much thinner because that can confuse you. And you want to make them as thin as possible so you can have a more accurate reading. All right. So at this point, look where we are. Pivot point in place. We are hovering at this zone here. Can you see that? We're hovering at this zone here. You can see that the push, if you put that line in there, you can see that there are less buyers. Are we together, everybody? I spoke to you about, guys, about this last week. I said to you, when the Northern Hemisphere is tight like this, it's telling you that there's more demand from whom? I said this last week. Who can remember? Let me make this another color. When the Northern Hemisphere is tight or small or narrow, look how narrow it is. Who can remember? Gerard, that is something that I cannot tell you. The guys are saying 30 Rand, you know, a liter. I'm not so sure. Guys, I told someone yesterday, if the price goes to 50 Rand a liter, you guys remember 50 Rand used to fill up a tank. 50 bucks used to fill a tank. Now 50 bucks a liter. That tells you about the management of the nation. Myself and Roger were actually chatting about this and some of the lecturers in the market review meeting. And we have oil in Africa, but yet we are importing in a totally different way. So they ask questions, but why? It's various reasons, trade agreements. Are we together? Different currencies that make it more expensive. Are we together? Guys, a trade agreement can put you in business with the country for 20 years and you're not allowed to do anything outside of that 20 years with another country. Is everybody with me? Trade agreements are so powerful, all right? You can contract yourself to Europe for 10 years as South Africa. We can, and then what if Nigeria does come through with a much cheaper oil price? Are we together? But because we contractually binded to Europe for 10 years, we have to honor that contract. Does that make sense? Is everybody? So trade agreements are very powerful because we're not talking about, you know, a Wi-Fi contract here with Foxlink paying $500 per month. We're talking billions of rands and dollars at stake. And therefore the trade agreements are structured more seriously and for longer periods of time, because it's people that they are trying to look after. Does it make sense, everybody? Also, the quality of oil. What quality of oil are you receiving? That's another point. So you buy where there is quality. Does it make sense? So will it move up to 50 Rand a liter? Guys, we had COVID. We had a complete lockdown for the entire nation. The world was on lockdown. Gerard, is it possible for 50 liters? 50 Rand a liter? For me personally, if I look at it from the standpoint of anything is possible these days, yes, we can go to 50 Rand a liter. Does that make sense, everyone? Everybody with me? But then again, you want to be hopeful and say that we're going to get our behinds into rear and that we'll manage the country more effectively and efficiently so that we don't get there. All right. Does it make sense? All right. For the possible turning point reversal in the trend. Isabel told me there's sellers in control. Yes. Thank you very much. You missed out on the hemispheres with the new king. Mr. W. Apparently he was the first one on the list there as an invite. Am I right or wrong? He was the first. So there's a lot of debates around that. I don't, maybe we'll discuss some of that in the recap. It's, I have my reservations there as well. Put her in a liter last month. That's a lot, Shira. It's a lot. 2 pounds on. FX swaps, FX, let me just say FX. The trend at this point in time, if you zoom out, you can see this. You can see this thrust. So this is up here for now. Are we together? So we are dealing with a possible movement down again if it does stay beneath that zone there. Can you see that? If it does stay beneath this area here, crosses the finish line to come back down again. Remember, we needed to satisfy a pivot point. This is the pivot here. That's the pivot there. Can you see it, Cheryl? That's the pivot, Shira. So if price stays underneath, that's the pivot that we're dealing with. All right. Well, but I mean, Gerard, that's like, I mean, if it increases, I mean, that's honestly, if it increases there, it's going to increase here. We have to pay more. That's if your supplier increases, it's basic business. If your supply increases, what do you think is going to happen to your price? That's basic 101. So if our suppliers increase, we increase here. If we're making it ourselves, it's different. Are we together, everybody? If we're making it ourselves, it's different. But if we are importing, if our supplier increases, we increase. All right. Can we move, guys? All right, FX, I got you. You're welcome there, Gerard. Guys, remember also with the cuts, Gerard, just to add there, remember the cuts, when the cuts happen, we get a bigger demand. When there is supply, less demand. All right, more supply, less demand. That's why. All right, finally, what's happening there? It's at 110 still. All right. So guys, let's see what happens. Let's see how price performs. Are we together? I'll be with you at 4 p.m. again. Obviously, this is our first session for the next 5 days. I did a bit of a recap here with some of the cycles. we'll be doing some more reminders of other concepts and techniques that I've mentioned to you previously, even last year. Everybody clear? I'll see you guys at 4 p.m. All the guys on YouTube, all the guys that joined me for the first time. Thank you very much for joining. It was a pleasure. Anna Marie, hope you had a wonderful one that Tubby sang. I'll see you guys at 4 p.m. for our recap, okay?